Hello guys, so this video is going to be on estimating drywall. My name is Nicholas and I've been estimating for 5 years as an estimator, but also doing project management as well. So when it comes to drywall, what I love to use is Bluebeam. That is for sure. So drywall, it can get somewhat complicated whenever you're taking into account recesses and different structures in the building that you can't necessarily just see from a floor plan. But when you're going based on the floor plan generally for just a single floor, it honestly isn't that bad for me. And that's one of the places where I got started, especially with takeoff software. So for Bluebeam, I would go to the perimeter tool and start with that, which will trace around the perimeter of the drywall, and of course name it drywall on the Bluebeam space for naming in the subject box, and just start going around doing your takeoff on the exterior. And definitely, so whenever there is a turn back, basically whenever a wall keeps going and wraps around and does a U-turn going back towards itself, you have to take into account that drywall is going to be wrapping around, because a lot of the times the same guys that are going to be doing your drywall takeoffs are also going to be doing your stud takeoffs, and getting it correct into your mind to where you're going on both sides of the wall every space that you go to can definitely get a little confusing at times, and especially whenever it's a much larger building. So I'm pretty sure the norm for us has just been 5/8 inch drywall throughout whatever place that we're gonna do. Most guys that are also doing the drywall are gonna be estimating paint, of course. And that is just something, I guess, to take into account. I used Xactimate in the past as well as RS Means, but Xactimate for the drywall function as well as the paint and for studs as well. So pricing software in this is definitely going to be a help, especially whenever you can just put into the whatever software the amount of square footage, or maybe you take into account the lineal footage, and then you can just throw in the wall height, which is what I was able to do most of the time. But drywall really isn't that complicated. A general tip that I'll give you guys is that whenever you are doing a drywall takeoff and the takeoff doesn't necessarily seem like it's correct or not corresponding to the lengths that are on the plans, I would go to whatever door is the closest to wherever your mouse is and scale off of the door. So normally a door is around 3 feet wide. Take that into account, scale it to 3 feet wide using your scale, and go from there. And you should be able to have a much more accurate takeoff for all the drywall in the building that you're doing. I'm trying to see, so hard lid isn't going to just be your perimeter, which you could do on Bluebeam if your perimeter makes full go-arounds and like fully encloses itself, is just to infill, and that infill should give you a square footage to where you don't have to go back around and do the actual surface area takeoff for the hard lid, which is the ceiling that you'll be working with drywall wise. And other than whenever you're doing drywall work and getting towards the end of it, thinking about cleaning up, thinking about just making sure that you do the complete punch list towards the end, to include maybe putting down paper in the first place so that mud doesn't get all over whatever floors, especially if you guys are going in on top of floors that have already been completed, which isn't supposed to necessarily happen. And I kind of felt that way as I was saying it, but in reality, we work in a construction world and we know that things can get out of order and miss with the schedule. But that's what I have for estimating drywall. And not the most complicated thing, but it does definitely start to get there whenever you get onto the commercial side. And if you guys will want any more information or help on the estimating or the project management side, click the link below in the description, and that is a link to my website where I have my ebooks for estimating and project management, but also health and life. You can go there and read the description. Cool. Thank you guys.